Demon King Tanjiro. With all the combined power of Tanjiro and the King of Demons, Muzan Kibutsuji, he is debatably the strongest character in the entire Demon Slayer universe. Being resistant to the sun, which virtually makes him nearly invincible, since that is the only weakness a demon has, meaning any Nitron swords wouldn't be effective against him. Either on the other hand, we have Yoriichi, the strongest Demon Slayer ever, and one of my favorite characters in anime. I need to look at all of the relevant evidence to determine exactly how strong Yoriichi was long gone by the time the series started. He continues to have a huge influence on the entire story and on present events. He actually got more attention than many living characters. Unfortunately, we only see both of them in action for a few pages, meaning they both doesn't have many feats to show his strength. However, a lot can be obviously implied. For example, we only see Demon King Tanjiro in his first few minutes of being transformed, making him virtually a rabid animal with no deeper conscience or thought, as we could tell because he lashes out at any person that comes close to him, even his sister Nezuko. So his mind isn't fully intact, partly because Tanjiro and Muzan were in constant mental battle for who's going to take over the body, resulting in a thoughtless beast. However, in the event that Tanjiro doesn't mentally overpower Muzan, like it's shown in the story, and retakes over his body, but instead accepts his fate becoming a demon, this would result in a conscious being with the power of sun-breathing, the strongest breath style, all of Muzan's blood demon arts, in addition to his incredible regeneration and control over all other demons and speed strength, etc. You get the points, all of Muzan's and Prime Tanjiro's abilities in one person. Starting with Yoriichi, the big bad villain of the series, Muzan was almost killed by Yoriichi, but then he realized how outmatched he was and ran away like a coward. Yoriichi also taught other demon slayers to use breathing techniques to defeat demons. Before him, they were practically useless against demons, and if not for Yoriichi, most of our current demon slayers wouldn't know how to use breathing techniques and would be much weaker as a result. He is considered to be the most talented and strongest demon slayer of all time, who have blessing of Sun God as Muzan, who didn't fear God, and was on killing spree in early years, caused too much havoc. And to stop that, Yoriichi's mother, who believed in Sun God, got Yoriichi as her son, with blessing of Sun God giving him far more superior combat powers, even in early years. Yoriichi didn't even need to develop a demon slayer mark. He was born with it. It almost got him killed because his father found it disturbing. Yoriichi was the younger twin brother of Michikatsu Tsugikuni, the man who would go on to become Upper Moon One Kokushibo. Even though Yoriichi would go on to become so strong, people thought he was inferior to his older brother in the beginning. They could not see his potential at all. Yoriichi was actually going to be killed as a baby, but his mother saved him. She convinced his father to send him to a temple when he reached the age of 10, instead of killing him. However, even though his life was saved, he was treated much worse than Michikatsu. He got a worse room, worse clothes, worse education, and worse food. People thought he was always clinging to his mother because he was such a pitiable baby. But at such a young age, he was actually helping to support his mother who was sick. Unlike Michikatsu, who got special treatment, Yoriichi had to grow up quickly. His older twin was not allowed to give Yoriichi his things. It was forbidden by their father. However, he did care about his brother, so he made him a flute that Yoriichi would go on to treasure for the rest of his life. Yoriichi didn't even speak until the age of 7. Suddenly one day, he asked Michikatsu if he wanted to be the strongest samurai in the nation. Michikatsu's swordsmanship instructor decided to humor the young 7-year-old. He told him to hold his wooden sword, and what happened to Yoriichi crushed the swordsmanship instructor while being in selfless state for the first time. Yoriichi landed 4 strikes on him in the blink of an eye and rendered the sword expert unconscious. Then, instead of being motivated by how awesome he was, Yoriichi felt. Despite the fact that Yoriichi's twin always wanted to master the way of the sword and be the best, he could never measure up to Yoriichi when Yoriichi was about to become the heir. However, after their mother died, Yoriichi left, and so Michikatsu got to keep his privileged position. Michikatsu developed a huge inferiority complex, especially after he found out that not only was Yoriichi knuckling to his mother out of fear of the world, but he was actually supporting her through her illness. In his weakest moments, Michikatsu wished that Yoriichi would die because his existence defied the laws of nature and made him feel completely inadequate. During his travels, Yoriichi met a girl named Yutie, They fell in love and got married. One day, Yoriichi left to get a midwife for his pregnant wife. He helped an old man along the way, and by the time he got home, Yutie had been killed, along with their unborn child. Yoriichi's dream wasn't to be a swordsman. He just wanted to live a quiet life with his family in a small house, so he was absolutely devastated when he found out what happened. He spent 10 days in a state of shock, cradling their bodies. Eventually, a demon slayer showed up in pursuit of a demon. It was supposedly a demon who killed Yoriichi's family, so it makes sense that he became a demon slayer himself. He taught the other demon slayers to use breathing at this point, which improved everyone's original sword forms even further. He came across his older twin brother again when he saved him from a demon. Even though Michikatsu had a family, he joined the demon slayers. Although he couldn't learn the strongest breath, the breath of the sun, from Yoriichi, he did learn the breath of the moon, arguably the second strongest form. Soon after that, Yoriichi ran into Muzan, the progenitor demon, and the main antagonist of the series. Yoriichi knew that he had been born for the purpose of defeating him as soon as he saw him. He could put a stop to the main demon that was creating more demons, and the demon population would inevitably be weeded out. This was the ultimate test of Yoriichi's skill. Even he sensed that even a single scratch would kill him. For the first time ever, Yoriichi felt a chill down his spine. Yet he remained calm and focused. In that moment, he completed the Breath of the Sun sword forms. He supposedly used the 13th form that Tanjiro has yet to learn, but is still trying to. It seems pretty clear at this point that the Dance of the Fire God was the way Tanjiro's ancestors passed down Yoriichi's Breath of the Sun forms. Back to the most epic battle in the series so far, Muzan was shocked when he saw Yoriichi's power. Muzan's body wasn't regenerating. This is probably because of Yoriichi's red-colored blade, which represents the power of the sun, which is the kryptonite of demons. Just as Yoriichi was about to finish off Muzan, the strongest demon ever, Muzan's body burst open with incredible force. It burst into 1,800 pieces of flesh that flew in all directions. Yoriichi cut more than 1,500 of them, which is unbelievable in and of itself, but the remaining pieces were too small. Enough pieces escaped and recombined into a lump the size of a human head, and that was enough for Muzan to eventually regenerate. It's clear that Yoriichi was more skilled and powerful than Muzan. The demon king of Pop had to run for his life before he could even put a scratch on Yoriichi. No wonder Muzan would go on to have nightmares about Yoriichi. He completely overpowered him. Muzan used to always hunt prey, but now he undoubtedly was the prey. Not even old age could slow him down, and not even death could bring him to his knees. In truth, Yoriichi could have finished Kokushibo right away if he wanted to, but he clearly didn't, and that is why Kokushibo survived. Yoriichi, despite his overwhelming power, couldn't bring himself to kill the older brother who gave him that old crappy handmade flute when they were kids. Yoriichi still had the flute when he finally died, with an undefeated record. So, that is how strong Yoriichi is. He was the user of the strongest breath, the breath of the sun. He was born with a demon slayer mark and with access to the see-through world. The first time he picked up a sword, he beat the crap out of a swordsmanship expert. He taught all other swordsmen how to combine breathing with their swordsmanship. He embarrassed and traumatized Muzan, who had no choice but to run for his life. He was as strong at 80 as he was in his prime, and Kokushibo, the strongest upper moon, couldn't even react to his speed. And although it hasn't happened yet, it seems clear to me that the breath of the sun forms that he developed and that were passed down to Tanjiro will end, up being the key to defeating Muzan once and for all. While being resistant to the sun, which virtually makes him nearly invincible, since that is the only weakness a demon has, meaning any Nichirin sword wouldn't be effective against him either, since the only reason why Nichirin swords are able to kill demons in the first place is because of the metal that they're made with, scarlet ore. That is a special metal that absorbs sunlight, basically acting as a replacement to the sunlight because of its similar qualities, allowing it to burn demons. So with this taken into factor, if the only two weaknesses demons usually have, Demon King Tanjiro overcame, what can actually kill him? It is stated that Yoriichi's sun breath style was on a completely different level than Tanjiro's sun breathing, and this was stated by Muzan himself. So that's to easily show that he's going to scale above Tanjiro's sun breathing forms, but for as strong as your Yoriichi is, as I stated in the intro, Nichirin swords, and sunlight doesn't work on Demon King Tanjiro. The only reason why he, so to speak, died in the first place is because Tanjiro won the mental battle to overtake his body. And let's even say the thoughtless version of Demon King Tanjiro we see in the story is weaker, not as strong and not as fast as you, Richie. Let's even give him that. How would Yoriichi even kill him? If anything, it would result in a stalemate, if not Yoriichi running away, because eventually his stamina would run out, since demons have unlimited stamina. Like, I can't emphasize much how important it is for a demon to get sun resistance. I mean, this is the whole reason why Moveson created demons in the first place, was to help him out in finding the blue spider lily, which he thought could be the cure to making sure he doesn't get burned by the sun. This was his literal whole life goal, is to make sure that he can get resistance to the sun. So this definitely isn't something to take lightly, and I can't think of any other way that Yoriichi would be able to kill Demon King Tanjiro, since the Nichiren swords and the sun doesn't work on him. And if we're talking about the other form of Demon King Tanjiro, where Muzan does successfully take over his body, and he's conscious, I think debatably, he could even be stronger than him too. Because again, this is Tanjiro with his sun breathing. In addition to the demon's unlimited stamina, the demon's amount of strength, all of Muzan's blood demon arts, like these, are crazy. Abilities added. I mean, yes, Yoriichi will defeat quite a few times, like 100 times his head will get chopped off. But ultimately, no matter how much stamina Yoriichi have, the stamina he possesses is not infinite. And as I said above, Demon King Tanjiro will infinitely regenerate and fight and defeat him. Yoriichi will overpower him in all aspects like strength, speed, attack power, defense, but he will lose in stamina and durability. So I think in that regards, he would even be able to beat Yoriichi. But I'm curious what you guys think, so be sure to comment down below if you disagree or anything, but I just can't figure out any way how Yoriichi would be able to bypass this sun resistance. But what if Yoriichi, getting pushed to his limits with his talent and IQ, finds some way to defeat Muzan? If you have any other fan theory, do mention below. I hope you guys like the video, like it and share it. Bye bye.